welcome to The Politicrat. I'm Omar Moore. It is Friday, June the 26th, 2020.
The gentlelady from California, and I rise today to ask the question, where is the party of Lincoln? Where's the moment of courage when the slaves were freed in that moment in 1863? This Senate bill, the MTR, does not rise to the occasion of those who are in the streets. It fails the moment. It does not require anything. It does not ban, require, or create. The Senate bill is threadbare and lacking in substance. It does not even provide a proper baseline for negotiation. It does not contain any mechanisms to hold law enforcement officers accountable in court for their misconduct. Does not address mens rea, a standard that should be the basis of due process. For too long, it has allowed law enforcement officers to evade criminal liability for excessive force. It is absolutely imperative that any meaningful policing reform contains accountability. It fails the moment. Tim Scott introduced the Walter Scott bill many years ago. It was yet to see the light of day in the United States Senate. Where is the party of Lincoln? The Justice Act does little to do with the urgent need, the cry of our people, or those gathering around me in CUNY homes who came to me, friends of George Floyd, who knew Big Floyd, and said, what does this bill do? Will it do anything? And as I told them about the bill, unlike this George Floyd Act, which repurposes existing grant monies, I let them know that this bill will give money to community groups, not give bunches of dollars to those who will continue the same patterns. For too long, the disciplinary and misconduct records of officers who pose a knowing threat to public safety have been shielded from the public in a manner that has resulted in great harm to the communities they are entrusted to. Our bill shines a light. The Senate bill and the motion to recommit does nothing but closes the door and says nothing about Black Lives Matter. In fact, it is a system that encourages the collection of records. We can give him credit for working in a hostile chamber, but members of the CBC have prioritized and made sure that the issues of today are important. Let me be very clear. There's some of the notable distinctions between the two proposals. The House Justice and Policing Act vastly more deals with more systemic approach to accountability by developing national policing standards and requiring police departments to gain accreditation. It is a friend of police. It gives and deals with professionalization. It has a national registry. It is not private, it is public. It is systemic racism, and so we must be transparent. This fails the moment. The Justice and Policing Act takes a multi-pronged approach to eliminating the use of chokeholds. In this bill, George Floyd would not have lived. In the Justice and Policing Act, we could have saved his life and Eric Garner. How does the House bill ban no-knock warrants? We do it. And the Senate bill, all it does is study. We have no time for studying. It must be accountable time now. Now is the time. Can you believe that the Justice Bill, Senator Scott's bill, this bill, does not have anything in it about use of force, nothing about banning on racial profiling, nothing to fix the federal criminal prosecution standards, nothing to roll back on qualified immunity, and nothing on limitations on military hardware and disbursements. My brothers and sisters, I ask you, where is the party of Lincoln? Where's the party of the Constitution that says we create a more perfect union to create justice? This bill hears the cry of those who have never been heard. It gives us a pathway for success, and I am glad to stand with the Congressional Black Caucus and the Justice Department to say that this bill has to pass. The Justice and Policing Act named after George Floyd. I yield back.
That was Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee from Houston, Texas, yesterday on the House floor. In her speech on why the House should pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. As a matter of fact, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act did pass by 236 votes to 181. 3 Republicans, Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, Will Hurd of Texas, he will be leaving the House in January, and Fred Upton of Michigan voted yes with the Democrats. This was the first piece of legislation ever to address police brutality against black men or women in the history of the U.S. Congress. In this episode, a look back at some of the speeches from yesterday's debate, and also a look at events that have really begun to contour a semblance of change in the United States. Next.